Okay. Just start off with introducing yourself.
Robert Shaw.
All right.
Yeah.
You look upside down.
Yep.
So, you've been doing RC for a while. What kind of got you started into RC?
Raced motorcycles and did trials for 25, 30 years.
Right, right. And trials is what is like kind of you're kind of jumping.
Trials is balance, skill,
Yeah.
things of that nature. So I started that back in the 80s.
Okay.
And in the 2000s,
Yeah.
broke my leg.
Oh wow. Oh.
So basically the wife said, you're not doing this anymore.
Right.
So
Right.
let me go run little RC cars.
something a little bit less physical, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
until you get hit by
Right.
a
Oh,
fly.
right.
Yeah,
There you go.
marshalling.
Right. Because first, of course, we start off with 10 scale, then we get into 8 scale, right?
Yep. Yeah, I started out with slash.
Gotcha. Wow. So how about when you got started in with the motor, with moto bikes? How did you get started with that?
Oh, I've rode motorcycles since I was like 3 years old.
Okay.
So I did that,
Yeah.
and then in '86 I bought a trials bike
Okay.
and started competing with those up until the 2009.
Okay. Did you get started from a family member or just?
Yeah, my father started me
Oh,
riding
really?
motorcycles.
Wow.
Yeah,
There you go.
my mother didn't want it, but my father
No?
did. Yeah,
Okay. There you go. So you kind of runs in the family.
yeah.
So when you started this track, is it because you had the land already, or?
Yeah.
Okay, because you had this track, and then you went to the barn track, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you came back over here.
Yep.
Okay. There's really not anywhere close around here that does.
Yeah, 100 miles.
Yeah. That's cool. So you just kind of like, hey, I think I want to start my own.
Yep.
Who was around you at the time that kind of sprawled that idea, or was it just?
Well, Steve Higgs was the guy that I rode trials with.
I remember
Yeah.
him. Okay.
Yeah, Steve rode trials together, and he owned where we rode trials at and put on events. We put on national events and everything.
Yeah.
And when we done that, we turned around and I broke my leg, and Steve had tore some kind of ligament or something in his arm or leg or something like that.
Wow.
So he was off the bike.
Right.
So I'd played with RC cars, back in the 90s, and then once, a little short period in the 90s, and then back in the 70s, I played with little on-road cars.
Okay.
And so anyway, Steve started playing with one. Then me and him both got slashes. Well, we were traveling back and forth every weekend, going somewhere to go play with them or buy parts.
When was that?
2009, 2010,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So we started that, going to Mike's down there in Carrollton.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We'd go down there, race, play, tear our cars up, get our parts, come back home. And every other weekend we'd go somewhere because we tore up cars.
Right. And y'all were coming from here, from Ardmore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Because that was kind of the closest.
Yep.
Okay.
And so that's how I got started in RC. And we started building the track. I guess it was like 2010 that we started building the track at here.
So, you started having this track over here, and you had some racing. So why'd you go to the barn track?
Steve lived down there at Falcon Head, and he knew the guy that run the ranch or owned the ranch down there. And he asked him if during the wintertime if we could get down there and play in that barn.
Yeah.
And that's where it just, from there, we started working inside of it, building a track in there.
Right.
Next thing you know, it said, well, there's no lights in here, And so Steve bought some lights out of a Petco or something like that. Well, they were 3-phase, so we had to buy an upverter or whatever you call it to make it wild leg. And then the rancher turned around and put a whole new electric system in.
Okay.
And we started, next thing you know, we're running races there every weekend.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember when I first started coming up.
Yeah.
Because at that time, too, Indy was about to close, or they're planning to close with Tex over there.
Yep.
And I was like, man, what do I do? Where's the the local track? It's gonna be Shaw's. I was like, let me look this up. Like, so I was like, that's when I started. I remember seeing Cody Cooper over there too.
Yep.
That was cool.
Yep. Yeah, Cody had started running. He started showing up there, and then Jim Brown, Gary Huckabee, they started coming.
That's right. Yeah.
And then we got a large group like Mark Santa Maria. He turned around, and we had actually started the series here before we ever moved the barn.
Okay.
Mark and Aaron Royston were the two that instigated that.
Yeah.
And we started racing the series here.
Yeah.
Then we moved to the barn and continued the series and did some RC Pro Series down there.
Yeah.
I guess we were down there 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Several years, yeah.
Yeah, and then we moved back here to big old giant 6-foot-tall weeds.
Yep. Hey, it grew. It grew, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. And so I know that during this time, we're going to watch this later on, but the Truck Nats is going to be happening this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that come about? How'd that idea come out?
Actually, Shaq's a guy that run with Shaq down there at 405, or what was their track called?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, was it younger guy?
Yeah.
Maybe with his parents. I'm sure.
He popped up on Facebook and said, we need to do something with just the trucks or something like that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let's do it.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we're doing Truck Nationals. Then it became the Tuggy Nationals because one of the trophies got mislabeled.
Oh.
So it was the Tuggy class got changed.
Tuggy Nationals.
Yeah. So the next year we did Tuggy Nationals, and they figured we better do something different than that.
Yeah.
So it's been Truck Nationals since then.
To
Yeah.
include all the trucks.
Yeah.
That's cool, and I mean, out of here locally, I don't know of anybody who has that idea. Truck Nationals.
Yeah.
That's really cool because they have the E-Nats, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Worlds, which is just Nitro Buggy. But now over here you have the Truck Nationals.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think this is our third or fourth year. I can't. Honestly, I don't remember.
I remember the first year it came out, and it was just the first time. And it was like it was pretty epic. It was cool.
Because there's no separation in your levels.
Right. Yeah.
So we're all running the same, if you're running E-Truck or Truggy or whatever. And then we did the gas truck.
Right.
That was the big draw at that time. The first time we did it, we had like 30 or 35 gas trucks come out.
Oh, yeah.
And after practice day, we had 20 gas trucks. They disappeared real quick.
There's a reason why it stays in the past.
Yeah, and then Ignite RC, they showed up to the next year or the following.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. With the gas truck.
That's cool. Was it the owner that came down? I mean,
Yeah.
The guy who started it.
Yeah.
I heard that somebody else has it now.
I think he sold, but I don't know for sure.
That's what I heard. That's why I heard
Yeah.
he sold it. But I had one too. I remember that. Man, it was tough. 2-wheel drive, gas.
On a loose dirt.
Loose dirt. It was cold. I remember that, and it was on ice skates.
Yeah. There was a lot of people that ended up said, "Nah, I'm not running that."
Yeah. There's some setup to it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've actually got some people that got pretty fast with them. And one of the guys, I don't know if they were from Kansas, Nebraska, that come down with, I think his name's Chad, that had Ignite.
Okay.
And he was like a national champ.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, but he did really good here.
Wow.
So.
I know that Jared Tebow came down here a couple times, right?
Yeah, he's been here once.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be really good with a gas truck too, I think.
Yeah, now he said he wanted to come down and run the gas truck.
Right.
They showed up this year, I think. early this year, and
Yeah,
it got
that's
really
right.
cold.
Yes.
And
I
like
know.
20 people said, "See you."
I know. Oh man, I was really sad about it because I was up there in the driver's stand, during practice Friday, and I was like, hey man, I really appreciate you coming down here to Shaw's. This is my favorite track.
Yeah.
I love outdoors. It gets rutted. It gets blown out. That's really cool that you're over here.
Yeah.
And then next day in the morning, I hear that he's not here. It's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah. Well, it got really cold
Yes,
Friday, and it's
it did.
like,
It did.
and everybody was like, no, there's a whole group of them that showed up that said, we're out of here. But then it turned out to be a beautiful day.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was all kind of like the local, the elite techno team.
Yeah.
Was over here. Wiggins was over here.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Hooks was
over here too, and he.
Yeah.
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 Hooks, Micah, Thomas Hinton. Yeah, they were all the fast guys, but.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You're already here. Stay here.
Yeah, and the weather did look nasty and it looked bad.
It did.
But the next day we got out there, we ended up running.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, turned out to be a nice day. But yeah, it was fun.
Cool deal. Well, thanks for sitting down and talking with me, and I'll have this all kind of edited and stuff.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Sit down with more people tomorrow.
Thank you, Francis.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yep. Cool deal. Just kind of start off with introducing yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Aaron Royston, currently racing Techno RC, block engines, aka tires, PTRC. You want me to go through? Here, you can just read this.
Yay! That's cool. You gotta do the plugins. Do you have to? Is it by contract?
I mean, it's implied.
See, I don't know. They don't want me. They don't want me anymore. Now, I made this. I'm trying to make this because just the reason, like truck nationals, and the reason why we go to Shaw's. Like, what's your input on that?
It's a different atmosphere here. I mean, it's a lot more. They're real family oriented.
Yeah.
It's an inclusive deal. You have people of all different skill levels, and you can bring your kids, they can race, and you can bring your wives, they can race, and they include all of the different classes. So it's really it's kind of a unicorn in the RC world.
Yeah, yeah. That's true, man. Well, I mean, typically it is kind of like tracks are kind of family, but this is like it really is. It really is. That's like the foundation of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not you don't see too many places where everybody is camping out the night before,
Right.
eating together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It's very different.
It's like a tradition, kind of like eating, like
Yeah,
was it Catfish Corner?
Yeah. Yeah, it's more of a destination than
Right.
It's a place where people can. It's almost like a mini vacation.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to Robert yesterday, and he's saying like, there's a father and son who came out here. They moved here just because of Shaw's.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
That's up
But
there.
it says a lot about
Yeah.
how Robert cares about the people, because that's really the main draw. Is
Yeah.
coming to a place where the owner cares that much about it.
Yeah.
that they create an entire environment where everybody can really come together
Yeah.
and enjoy
Yeah.
each other rather than just racing toy cars.
Right. And it seems like here in this atmosphere, it's, all tracks and hobby shops, they barely make money. And over
Right.
here, I mean, that's all it is. I mean, the foundation is just kind of like coming together.
Right.
Right. How did you get into RC?
I've had RC cars pretty much my whole life. Actually, I just had this conversation the other day.
Yeah.
The very first toy that I can remember getting for Christmas was a, I don't remember what brand, it's probably like a Tamiya or something, but it was the little three-wheeler with the wire.
Oh.
So we're talking
Wow.
early 80s.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I was probably 3 or 4 years old. And so I've actually always had RC cars, but I didn't know that there was organized racing. So I never picked up an RC magazine.
Yeah.
I actually bought my first Traxxas at Mike's in Carrollton, apparently when it was right when they first moved there. So
Oh, wow.
you're talking, 20 years ago? Mm-hmm. And I never knew that they had racing there. I just thought the track was there to drive your toy car that you just bought.
Right.
Because every day that I went there was never anything posted.
Yeah.
So one day, this is probably 12 years ago, I was actually taking my daughter to a camp up in Pottsboro, Texas, up on Texoma.
Okay.
And we were driving, we came the back way, which we normally never do, and we came down through Gainesville on 82. And on the way there, I saw, I don't know if you remember Texoma Hobby Shop.
I heard about it.
It was brand new.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's a track, but it's too small for cars or whatever. So I stopped by there on the way back, talked to the owner, and found out that they were racing. And that's when I got into it. And it was, we had just moved, and I had actually found that Rustler that I was talking about that I bought from Mike's 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
I had just pulled that out
Yeah.
in the move. And so I took that up there, and that's what I was racing. I was racing with the first brushless system that ever came out. It was like a Novak Super Stock or whatever.
Yeah.
And from there, I fell in love.
Wow. You know what? I actually remember when they just came out with brushless.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember they first came out with like the airplane version.
Yeah.
And it just, that changed the game for electric.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Made it way easier.
Yeah.
So before that, I actually had a group of 3 buddies that we all had the Rustlers, we all had the Novak systems.
Yeah.
And what we would do is we would take Frisbees. We would go to parking lots,
Yeah.
throw out Frisbees,
Yeah.
that was our track. And we would just race each other. And we did that, I don't know, once, twice a month.
That's funny.
We had, then we all got the Nitro Fortec whenever it first came out.
Yeah.
And we would duct tape mini mag lights to the top and run them through the streets in each one of our houses, like to see how bad we could piss off the neighbors. It was like 1 in the morning.
Oh God. So that's a nitro. That's a nitro
Yeah,
powered.
that's nitro, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. You guys are bad.
Yeah.
Dang. All right.
So it's probably a good thing I found tracks.
How did you first know about Shaw's?
Well, I met Robert at Texoma. So
Oh.
before he opened this track, actually I think he had a track here, but it was just for practice. I don't think he had a timing loop or anything. But
Okay.
him and his buddies, they had a group
Higgs.
of like 4
Higgs, yeah.
There were a group of like 4 or 5 of them.
Oh.
They were coming out to Texoma, and so we
Okay.
were racing with them. We've been racing with them
Dang.
for a year,
Wow.
year and a half before he
Yeah.
opened up the track.
Wow. Wow.
So because Texoma shut down,
Yeah.
and then nobody had anywhere to go, and so we all started coming up here.
And that was I think you remember telling me about it. It was it's the outdoor track. Outdoor track,
yeah,
right?
it was an outdoor track.
outdoor track. Got pretty rutted, or
Yeah, it was surface of the moon.
That's
rutted.
crazy.
But it was fun.
That's awesome.
But it taught you how to drive.
I kind of wish they kind of just did some water on here.
Yeah, I like the old
Yeah,
old when
yeah.
it was just wet. But you just can't do it with this.
Really, even with the clay.
Yeah, it's just,
Really?
it doesn't hold water.
I got you. Hopefully by the mains though.
Yeah, once the
you think?
the
Yeah.
moisture will come up after
Okay.
it starts.
Okay. Does it help out to water throughout the quals for the mains to have more?
I don't really know because
Really?
it's really you're talking about evaporation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's-
I gotcha.
But
That's cool. Do you think this track you know, Shaw's RC track, do you think it's a you know, kind of a big thing, a good thing for the community?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of the model, which from a I want to say an organizational standpoint, but
Yeah.
just again how you build it to where it's family oriented,
Right.
where you can actually bring out more than just yourself.
Right,
You can
right.
include your wife, you can include your kids.
Right.
So the way that they have it set up, I think that should be the model, because
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, this is a hobby.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And you know, the best case scenario is that you're a world champion at racing toy cars. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, let's bring it back to where
Right.
it's an actual hobby.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just like the 1%. It's like the 0.0005% that actually
Right,
can do
right.
this for a living. Cool. Well, hey man, thanks a lot for you know sitting down with me and getting your input, man.
No problem.
That's cool. Thanks, brother. Freaking awesome. Freaking awesome.